Welcome to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. I'm your host, Martel Llewellyn. We're pushing to 5,000 subscribers. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support. So today we have a Miami Heat fan. I'm doing a series where I'm bringing on as many Heat fans as I can, trying to get their perspective. Nick, so how are you doing today, and where can the people find you going forward on social media?
I'm good, man. Once again, thanks for having me, bro. They can find me on Twitter at Nick2_NC. You guys can find me on there, man.
All right, so the Miami Heat right now, they're 8-8, and tonight they play the Toronto Raptors. What is your current outlook on the Miami Heat right now with everything going on?
Man, just kind of more of the same. More of the same. I think just to get right into it, man, I think we really miss Jimmy's window. Not to say it's completely closed, but I think that window is kind of past slipping, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We're kind of at the doorsteps. Age is obviously starting to show a little bit. We can't expect that man to run out there and put in, 40, 42-minute nights for us during the season. During the playoffs, yeah, but we obviously need to get there and in a good position to do well. So that's kind of what's bothering me right now. Obviously, Tyler's stepping up, but once again, we got that one guy stepping up, and then a bunch of role players. It looks like Bam really has to do a lot more, in my opinion, especially on offense.
So, what do we do with Jimmy Butler going forward? Do you believe that the Miami Heat gave Jimmy Butler the right help or enough help while he's been here in Miami?
Nah, man. Look, Jimmy came. Jimmy came in 2019. I'll never forget because Jimmy's one of my favorite players, and him coming here really made him my favorite Heat player of all time. I know everybody has Wade, but that's my favorite Heat player of all time. Just because he came here at a time when really nobody was interested in playing for Miami anymore. That kind of aura that was there in the beginning, it just wasn't hitting the same. Pat Riley couldn't just slam some rings on the table and expect these guys to just want to play for us anymore. And you had this guy come in to an organization that really didn't have another superstar piece or another piece that we could say, hey, that's the guy. All we really had was Goron. You know what I'm saying? Bam wasn't Bam back then. So we had Jimmy come in and really just put the team on his back. Went to the finals that first year, dog. You know what I'm saying? And even though it was a bubble, went to the finals that first year with a rookie Tyler Hero and what a sophomore, junior Bam. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. And for them to see that, especially after the 22-23 season, bro, and we came off of that season on a high, and Dame requests that trade, brother. And we're all going crazy thinking it's a done deal. And then I just feel like since then it was just like
But you don't
downhill.
also think that, like, because don't get me wrong, could they have done better? I think absolutely. I think they kind of went too far with the undrafted thing, only because they saw the success from Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, you know, plus Caleb Martin, who he was not even on a team. And, just because of J. Cole, he was able to be on this roster. So they did kind of go a little bit too far with the undrafted thing, and I do think we lack talent. However, don't you also think that it is Jimmy Butler's fault for bringing Kyle Lowry over here? Because once Kyle Lowry came over here, he didn't want to hear nothing about Heat culture. And even though
That's
I
the thing.
understand he's never been in shape, and that's cool, but you knew what you were signing up for when you know what I mean, when he came over. So, what do you think about the whole Kyle Lowry trade? Because I know a lot of people will say they didn't get Jimmy Butler help, but then also
Mm-hmm.
to Victor Oladipo, season-ending injury multiple times. Tyler Hero breaks his hand. Goran Dragic and Bam out in the bubble. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of 50-50. They did give him help, but then at the same time, not not really. You know what I'm saying?
They gave him help, but in my opinion, not really the help that was needed at the time. And to be fair, the point that you made is true. Jimmy did have a big role in bringing Kyle Lowry here. And, he just has to take that. We all got to take that to the chest, right? But that's one thing against Jimmy. I could point to like 4 or 5 different times the front office is just like,
No,
just
please
looks
go ahead.
stagnant.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, for example, James Harden. James Harden, Kyrie Irving. We could start with those two, right? I think at that time when those rumors were coming out, we could have really used a playmaker. We didn't need James Harden to come in here and be step back three James Harden. That would have been great. But James Harden probably would have averaged 12, 15 assists with us, bro. You know what I mean? The way that team was structured, um, Tyler Hero was obviously just coming in. He probably wouldn't have to do as much as he was doing if we had James there. We could move on to Kyrie. I know, he had all that, all those rumors and all the headlines surrounding him at the time. But bro, sometimes you just got to get the talent. That's just my opinion. You just have to go after the talent and live with the results, man. That type of talent, Kyrie, James Harden, even Donovan Mitchell, even Dame. Like, I don't feel like we were playing hardball with our future, brother. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
well, with Donovan Mitchell, I think he was the one who really folded on that. I think, Donovan was the one that chose Cleveland.
Yeah,
I mean?
definitely,
So,
definitely.
The only thing I'll say is that maybe before he went to Cleveland when he was with Utah, but then
That's what I was referring to. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, yeah. Well,
even though
no, go ahead, you're good.
Even though it wasn't like a Dame situation where he specifically asked for Miami, I feel like Miami. My main point here is the complacency of the front office is what gets to me, especially seeing Jimmy play out of his mind. These things were unexpected. We weren't expected to go to the finals. We weren't expected to be the Eastern Conference finalists, going against Boston this many times. It was always the Bucks. It was always Boston. It was always New York. You know what I mean? We were just coming in and really it was Jimmy, man, coming in, stomping on these dudes. And then these other guys would come in and handle the dirty work while he uplifts us. You know what I mean? So that's why it really pains me to see everybody just saying, oh, trade this guy. Even though I get not wanting to pay him all this money this far into his career. But also that's just the game now, man. That's just how the game is. That's how the CBA is. So if that's how we got to play, that's how we got to play it. We got to pay our players.
So what do you think about Terry Rozier? He was playing, semi-injured. I guess he had that right foot or left foot injury. What do you think about Terry Rozier coming off the bench? Do you want him to be back in that starting lineup? When we brought Terry Rozier here, he was really supposed to fix the scoring issues, and we're still having those same scoring issues. So what do you think about Terry Rozier and his fit with the Miami Heat? And did they make a mistake by trading for him?
In hindsight, yeah, they made a mistake. I think at the time we were all excited, just because of the stagnation, once again, of the front office. It just seemed like they weren't really making any moves, really trying to push for that championship team to really get over that hump. And, that move happened, and Terry was having a great season. We can't take that from him. He was having a season where he was averaging almost 25 a game. It was like 24 a game or something like that. And he came into on a team that played a certain system and had a certain culture to it. And I just don't think he fit into that role the way that we expected him to. I also think it was kind of a panic move. They kind of saw the noise that was being made, and they were like, "All right, we got to do something." Kyle Lowry's at the end of this contract, anyways. They just get rid of him. They got rid of a first round pick too. I don't know what that's about. So definitely in hindsight, we could say, yeah, we whiffed on that trade. But putting him on the bench, let's see how it works out, because I like how he played in that last game against Charlotte.
So the Brooklyn Nets, they said that they're gonna, they're willing to trade everybody. The Washington Wizards, they're putting Kuzma up on the board for trade, and the Chicago Bulls, they're trying to shed $85 million worth of salary with Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, and I don't remember who the other one is, but I know that they're trying to shed salary. If you can add one role player to this Miami Heat roster, whether it's 3-point shooting, whether it's height, whether it's defense, who would you add to this roster that would help complement these guys?
Oh man, that's a tough one. You put me on the spot. Let me think. Let me just touch on this real quick. Last season, I wanted Vuce since that's one of the names he put on there. I wanted Vuce because I felt like Bam needed to be moved to the 4. He's getting older. The mileage is starting to pile up. And I think his game, he looks like he wants to move to the 4 a little bit more, just his style of play right now. So I think bringing Vooch here as a rebounder, and he can stretch the floor. He can knock down those threes at any of the 5 points on the floor. He can rebound. He could guard the big man. I think the game has gone back to a bigger man's game, even though these big mans are doing, like Victor Wembanyama is doing nutmegs on guards and stuff like that. So the big man game is back. You know what I mean? So we kind of got to go with the times and kind of get away from the small ball a little bit. So that's just one name, Vooch. Other than that, I wouldn't really put my stock into Kyle Kuzma. I don't think that's really a need right now. Honestly,
What about Lonzo Ball?
Lonzo, I'll take Lonzo if it's for cheap. I'll take Lonzo if it's for cheap because he's already at the end of his contract. So we're gonna have to give him something, right? And the health is obviously a bit of a concern. And we saw with Victor how that played out. I love Victor to death. He was one of my favorites on this run. But we saw how that played out. And it's just a bet. You know what I mean? It would be a bet. I wouldn't say that that's a for sure thing. Healthy though, good move. Good move. A 3-and-D guy. He could play make. He could throw those lobs to Bam. Bam ain't got to work that hard on offense. You know what I mean? For his buckets. And I think if healthy, yeah, that'll be a good move. Healthy and cheap.
Now, what is your opinion on KEL'EL WARE? Did we make the right pick? Should we have drafted somebody who's a little bit more NBA ready? Because, we are in the Jimmy Butler window right now. Mm-hmm. And if they knew that KEL'EL WARE technically couldn't contribute as much as they would like, do you think that they should have, went with somebody else like a McCain, like a Dalton Connect? I mean, I see where the vision is. It's because, like what you said, Bam Adebayo does not want to play the 5 anymore. He could be more maximized at that 4. So, yes, the talent is there. We just might not be able to see all of it within this Jimmy Butler window. So what do you think about KEL'EL WARE and his fit with this Miami Heat team?
I loved it, man. I loved it. I thought I wouldn't know. At the time, we could say McCain's playing great, Connect is playing great. But at the time, that's the guy that I felt like fell in our lap and complemented what we really needed, a rim protector and somebody who could get Bam out of that 5 position, move to the 4, and be able to affect other places that we need help at. So I thought it was a great pick. I don't know what Spo's beef is with rookies, though. I can't call it. So I'm not sure that the reason is he's not ready yet, because I feel like with his skill set, we can use him for something to where he can have at least 12 to 15 minutes right now. Just 12 to 15, bro. We're not asking for 20 to 25. We're not asking you to be our starting center. But just to get him into that mindset of, okay, this is how the game is played. This is the speed of the game, right? This is how I have to adjust. That's not going to happen with him sitting on the bench just watching the whole time, right? You get what I mean? So I think at least 10 to 15, 12 to 15 minutes to start right now in December would be great. I think it was a great pick, though, just to answer your question. I think it was a great pick.
Now, in terms of the starting lineup, what's your starting lineup? What's your rotation? We've seen Josh Richardson come off the bench, absolutely horrendous. Burke should be playing a lot more. Larson has been playing out of his mind as a plug-and-play role player. They're definitely stepping up. So what is your starting lineup? 1 minute Haywood's in there, 1 minute Love is in there. Some people want Jaime in there. Now Duncan's in the starting lineup. So if you're Spo, what is your starting lineup?
Right now, my starting lineup would be I'm starting Ware. That's me personally. You asked me if I was Spo. So I'm starting KEL'EL WARE. Me personally, I want to see him go out there. Once again, even if that 10 to 15 minutes is with him starting and then having those minutes stretch, we could get it to 15 to 20 minutes. Just having him have some real strong minutes, seeing how the pace is played with the starters, getting him a feel for the game as a rookie. He's not going to be asked to do much. We're not asking him to carry the ball. KEL'EL WARE at the 5. I'm starting Bam at the 4. I'm starting Jimmy at the 3. I'm starting Duncan at the 2, and I'm starting Tyler at the 1. I'm gonna have Terry be the 6th man. I'm gonna have Pell in rotation. Right after him, Josh. I love you, Josh. Bench riding. And Haywood High. We back?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Haywood Highsmith. On a need-to-be basis, man. Have Love sub in there for the big man. Haywood Highsmith maybe subbing for Jimmy sometimes. Have him not having to play those long big guys anymore. Going back to the bigger guy. That's basically what I'm trying to show here. You know what I mean? Going back to the bigger guy. Just playing common sense basketball. We're moving back to young guys, energy guys. These young teams are balling. These young guys are balling. Get Pell in there, get him some minutes. Did we see the games that he's been playing, the minutes that he's been playing, how he's looking on the boards, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like, getting up there with the big guy, just the energy he's bringing. We got to get these young guys some minutes, man. We have to. and I don't think we have the space not to, man. Like with this roster, how it is, we got to get them their minutes, and they have to perform.
So real quick before we close, where do you think that the Miami Heat stack up in the Eastern Conference? Only because they are 8-8. You know, Boston and Cleveland, they're starting to run away, which is expected. But I think that Cleveland is definitely fool's gold. They do that every year. Donovan Mitchell carries them, and then they don't really show up in the playoffs. The 76ers, they're a joke. Joel Embiid and Paul George can't stay healthy. Milwaukee's starting to turn around. They're starting to turn around. They do have some, some small injuries with Giannis and stuff like that. But other than that, the Eastern Conference, I mean, like the Knicks, even though they are loaded, and I think that with Tom Thibodeau over there, with all those guys trying to play all those minutes and stuff like that, which Tom Thibodeau is known for running guys into the ground. So him playing that starting lineup for 82 games, I don't see how that's also going to work as well. But they are still a great team. So where do you think the Miami Heat stack up in the Eastern Conference? I still think they can be competitive. I think that if they get the right matchups, I think they're right back in the ECF with Boston. But let me know what you think.
Listen, man, I don't fear anybody, and I'm not even going to say fear. I respect Boston, Cleveland, New York. Just because of how New York had to show me, but they're showing me right now. They're playing really good basketball. Boston obviously is who Boston is. Got to have respect for them, even though I hate to say it. And Cleveland is rolling. I don't fear the Bucks. I never have, and I don't fear Doc Rivers, so I definitely don't now. So I don't see them. Love Dame to death. I don't think he saves them. We've always knew how to pull Giannis's card and kind of stop him a little bit, slow him down a little bit. Man, other than that, I put the Heat right in the middle, 4 and 5, right in there with Orlando. And that's probably it. I don't see Atlanta. I don't see Brooklyn. I don't see Indiana at all. So that's to our benefit. The East is weak, man. The East is weak. So we can still do our thing. That's why I have no panic in me. I have no fear. That's why I troll on Twitter or X all the time. That's why I troll. I have no fear for any of these guys, man. I trust this team. I love how Tyler's playing right now. He looks like he's ready to really stunt in the playoffs, man. God willing, we're healthy. And we just got to see Boston, man. Cleveland's rolling. Respect to them, and we just got to see those guys. That's it.
All right, Nick. So once again, thank you for coming on the show. Where can the people find you again?
Just on Twitter, on X. I keep calling it Twitter, man. I'm black as hell. It's on X. Nick__NC, man.
Guys, so make sure that you head over to his profile. Follow him on X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it. He's always talking about the Miami Heat. And once again, Nick, thank you for coming on the show, guys. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We're pushing to 5,000 subscribers.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. Peace.